Alright, this video is going to be for doing the bracket assignment. I'm going to do it all the way from start to finish. On the left side here is going to be the directions that are given to you and what you need to do. And so I'm just going to go through so you can just watch the video instead of reading through all these directions. So let's get started. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to select New. Notice it's going to say it wants metric, so I'm going to click on metric right here. And I'm going to go to standard mmi.ipt and hit create. Okay. Once that loads up, I'm going to sketch a rough rectangle, and the dimensions are going to be 50 by 156. And so when I sketch that out and I put my rectangle in, it's really easy for me to just type it in. So I'm just going to type 50, 156. If I go ahead and recenter that, you know what? It's going to look better if it's the other way around, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So let's do that again. I'm going to do 156 by 50, and that's just going to load it up in the way that I think makes the most sense, since this is the rectangle that I'm looking for. So I'm going to change it to isometric, and I'm going to extrude the sketch by 87. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to go ahead and extrude that out by 87, and then I'm going to hit OK. And so notice I'm already kind of looking at this a little bit weird, but that's okay. It's going to tell you to save it. I'm going to skip these steps, but you should do that, so save it as bracket, and then that way you have it, and you can save more often than I will be doing. So I'm going to create a sketch on the front of the environment. So basically this is the front here. This is going to actually be the front on my object because of how it's actually oriented in space. So I'm going to create that sketch, wrong button, on the front of the object. Okay. Notice mine does not look like this, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate it so it's a little bit easier to tell. And then I'm going to be basically creating the shape. So that's a rectangle of 65 by 32. So I'm going to click in the upper part. And so here is going to be 32. The height is going to be 65. Okay. This is going to be on both sides as well, so I'm just going to do that in one step. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to make sure I'm on the corner. I'm going to do 32, 65. Okay, and then I'm going to finish my sketch. Now what I'm going to do is extrude that through. So I'm going to click on both of those. I'm going to want to extrude. However, I'm going to make sure that I'm cutting through the object. And that's going to go down. If it doesn't work out right, if you hit cut, make sure that you're going in the opposite direction too, and I'm going to hit OK. So now when I look at this object, I'm just going to kind of rotate it around. That's kind of what we're looking at, and we're already down here. Now the next step is going to be to create this rectangle that's in the middle, and so you're going to have some dimensions for that. I'm going to start a new sketch on the front of my shape. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and use the rectangle tool because that's basically what this is. This is going to be 50 across, and that's really the only one I got, so I'm just going to hit OK. And so now I have that 50, but I also have to dimension the other one. So from here to here is 21, from the bottom to here is 29. So I'm going to make sure to add those dimensions in. I'm going to go up to the dimension tool. So from this line to this line is 21. You see that located right here. Okay, and then from the bottom to here is 29. So I'm going to do that as well. Okay, so now I got my shape and exactly what I need. So from here, let's see which step I'm already on. It doesn't want you to go all the way through. So it goes a depth of 27 millimeters. So when I finish my sketch and I extrude it through, I'm going to cut that by 27, and I'm going to hit enter. And so when you zoom in and look at it, it should look something like that. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some of these holes. And so these holes are going to be located here and here. I'm going to do both of those at the same time. And so all the hole information is located right here. And then where the holes go, you have the dimensions as well. So I'm going to start a sketch right here, and I can actually do a point and a point. since those are on the same plane. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to click on my point tool. I'm going to click about where it needs to be on both of those. Okay, so obviously that's not in the perfect location, so I'm going to make sure I have to dimension those. From the side to the point is actually going to be 16. From the top to the point is 23. And once again, those dimensions are located right here. If you mix these up, it's not going to center it. You'll know just by looking at it that it's not right. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So from here to the top is 23. From here to the side is 16. Okay, so now I have both of those points where I want them. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to go ahead and click on the hole tool. So once you have the hole tool selected, you're going to go ahead and make sure that you're following the directions that are over here, so you're clicking on the right hole, so making sure that all of the dimensions are correct. Okay, now that I have those and it's through all, I'm just going through making sure I have everything right, and I'm going to hit OK. And then that is going to create my counterbore holes on the side. The next step is going to be creating the holes on this part of my bracket. So I'm going to create a sketch there. Okay, now notice I'm going to create 2 points and the dimensions are located over in the directions. So I'm going to click 2 of those in there. I'm going to now insert my dimensions. So from the point to the top is 15. From the point to the side is 23. So notice I was pretty close, but it's not perfect. So you want to really make sure that you're doing that right. 23 there. And then from the point to the top is going to be 42. Okay, once I have that, I'm going to be selecting my hole type. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to once again select the hole feature. Alright, now notice these holes are a little bit different than my original ones, so you want to make sure that you are changing them appropriately. And notice it's a different type of hole over here, so I'm going to make sure that it's selected correctly, otherwise I'm not going to have the correct options. So this is a countersink, so this is 20, this is 90 degrees, and this is 13 through all. And then everything should line up okay. I'm going to hit OK, and then there you go, I have those holes as well. You can already see that we're pretty much done here. The last couple things that we're going to have to do is add the fillets. And so that is found in just your 3D part up here. So I'm going to go over where it says modify, I'm going to click on fillet. Now the key here is you've got 2 different types of fillets. So these, the bigger ones, are 12, and then everything else is going to be 3. A lot of students miss that. So I'm going to start with the 12 since those are specific ones. So I'm changing that to 12. I'm going to make sure I'm selecting the ones that I need. You're going to have to work on making sure that you're rotating around the object to get the correct spots. So the better you are with working with a mouse, the easier that's going to be. Otherwise, you're going to have to use your view cube a lot more. So I got those 6 fillets are done. I'm going to hit apply. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the edges out at 3 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead, click 3, and I'm going to click on all the objects. Notice when you're done, and I'm going to go back up to the top where there's a better view. Here you go. Every edge is filleted, so I need to make sure that I'm doing that at 3. And so you're going to have to kind of rotate around your object, making sure that all edges are done. I would take your time doing this. The reason is if you misclick, you're going to have to cancel and redo it all. You're not going to want to do that. So taking your time, making sure you're not misclicking, which a lot of students do. I'm missing one over here. Just one more time around, making sure it's all done. That looks good. I can hit apply. And I am officially done with my bracket. Now, what I always recommend doing, you guys know how to change the color at this point. I would change the color as well, just so it looks nice. Let's see if I can get a good view of this for you. Oops, wrong one. There you go. And so you can see all the fillets are done, the holes are done, and that's your bracket. Oh, actually, I missed one, and I'm glad I actually looked back. I missed this fillet as well. So there you go. If you don't take your time, if you're not paying attention to all the edges, there you go. That's evidence that you can miss some simple edge like that. But now it is done, and it is ready to be turned into a drawing so I can submit it for the assignment.